Okay, students, today we're going to continue working with extrusions and Autodesk Inventor. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the software. I already have it opened. Here is the software that we'll be using, called Autodesk Inventor 2025. However, there are very subtle changes between older editions. So if you're working with the older edition at home, that's fine for the most part. Also, I want to point out to you let me share the screen here. This is a part I found on the internet. I won't be modeling this exact part because I would be breaking a copyright law. However, we're going to model something very similar to this, okay? Somewhat. All right, so we're going to model something similar to this. And again, if you have access to Autodesk Inventor, you can work along with me. If not, I would just encourage you to take good notes at this point. All right, so let me go ahead and stop the share. And I'm going to go back into the software. All right, so when you first open up Autodesk Inventor, this is what you see. This is the screen. So everybody take a good look at it. Right now you see open. If you have an existing project, obviously you would select open, but today I'm starting something new. So I'm going to click on new right here. Click on new. All right, when you do this, this panel comes up. And by the way, it might look like this when you pull it up. If your screen does not look like mine, what you can do is hit this arrow right here, and it will show you English units, metric units, and mold design. We'll discuss mold design later on. But I'm going to select English here. And we're going to make a 3D part. So I select English first. I'm going to make a 3D part. That's what IPT stands for. The extension IPT stands for Inventor Part File. Okay. And notice it has inches in parentheses. So I'm going to select this because I'm going to make a 3D model. The 3D model is my Inventor Part File. And then after I select English and then Inventor Part File, I'm going to come down here in the lower right-hand corner and I'm going to select Create. And then my screen is going to update like this, okay? Now, anytime you create a 3D model, you have to start off by selecting Start 2D Sketch, right? You have to create a sketch first. So that's the first thing we have to do is create a sketch. Now, in this particular class, this CAD course is designed so that you will be modeling the things that you will be machining in your machining course. One more time, you will be modeling things that you will be machining in the machining course. So it's kind of neat. It's like how the real world works. Okay. It's like you just don't start designing things and building it right away. You go through the design process first. And then once everyone is happy, that's when you'll start actually making the part. So again, before you can make a 3D model, select Start 2D Sketch, Start 2D Sketch. And this is what your screen now looks like. I'm going to hover. This is the XY plane. This is the YZ plane. And this is the XZ plane. They all intersect at the axes and the origin. Okay. So 99% of the time, I select the frontal plane, which is the XY plane here. This is the plane that I want to sketch on. All right, but you could choose the other two. All right, we have this vertical axis here, which is the Y-axis, And we have a horizontal axis here, which is the x-axis, okay? Like you learn in your math class, right? You need to be familiar with the X, Y, and Z axis, not just for the CAD work, but also for the CNC machining that we'll do later, all right? Now, right now, the origin is right at the center of the screen. That is fine, but a lot of times what I like to do is pan. I like to hold down the scroll wheel on the mouse, and I will move my mouse and I can pan like this, okay? Now, I gave you this drawing, but I have to change it. The reason I have to change it, again, is for copyright reasons. I cannot use their exact design, but I can borrow the idea and modify it, which is what I'm going to do. So, if you look at this part, you'll see there's two cylindrical looking sections of the part. It looks like we have at least 2 large holes and 2 small holes in this part. So now you can cast this part and do some secondary machine operations after you cast it. What does casting mean is when you pour, for example, like liquid metal into a mold, a sand casting, it's going to make the exact part that you're trying to manufacture. But a lot of times, even when you cast a part, you have secondary machining operations that have to take place. All right. So let's say we pour it in a mold and we make this part, but we still have to come back and do some secondary machining operations on this part. So if you look at your drawing, you'll see we have some diameters here. I'm going to go to circle center point, and I'm going to go right here to the origin. See, when I move my cursor to the origin, what happens? It turns green. As soon as it turns green, I'm going to click with my left mouse button. I'm going to draw out pull out a circle of arbitrary diameter right now. Notice the dimension is in blue. It's asking for input. It wants to know the size of the circle. I'm going to make it 1.50, 1.5 inches in diameter. I'm going to enter here. Now, how do I get out of this mode? Come over to the side of the part, do a right click with your mouse and select OK. Now, I can rotate my scroll wheel on the mouse. When I rotate the scroll wheel, what happens? It zooms in and out. If I hold the scroll wheel down, I can pan around as before. Up here in the top left-hand corner, I'm going to show you in just a minute how to use this view cube. But for right now, I want to create some geometry, some 3D geometry first. Now I'm going to draw a construction line, because if you look at that drawing that I gave you, the centers are separated by a distance of 2 inches. The center to center distance is 2 inches. So I'm going to draw a temporary construction line. So I'm going to go to line and then click line again. And I'm going to click on the center of the circle, and I'm going to drag out a line. I'm moving my cursor to the right, and I'm going to type in 2 and then enter. And I'm going to do a right click with my mouse, and I'm going to select OK. All right. Now I've drawn a circle and I've drawn a line. I want to draw another circle, the same diameter as this one, at this endpoint. I'm going to go to circle, circle center point, click on the endpoint, see how it turns green, click, drag this out. I'm going to make it 1.5 inches in diameter. I'm going to enter with my keyboard, do a right click, select OK. All right. Now, what I want to do is I want to draw a line from this 12 o'clock position on this circle to 12 o'clock position on this one, and the 6 o'clock position here to the 6 o'clock position here on these circles. So I go to line, look what happens. All right, it won't turn green, but you'll feel it snap. It snaps to the 12 o'clock position. Click, come over here, same thing, you'll feel it snap to the 12 o'clock position. Click with the left mouse button, do a right click, select OK. Now we're going to repeat that. We're going to go to line, come down here to the 6 o'clock position. You'll feel it snap, click, come over here and drag right there, click. Then do a right click, OK. I don't need all this. Okay, I don't need all this right now. So what I'm going to do is I no longer need this construction line. I'm going to do a right click on that construction line and hit the delete button. Okay. Now, I want to trim these circles. There is a pair of scissors right here. There's a menu item or an icon called trim. If I click on trim and then click on this circle here and then click on this circle, it trims out the part that we don't want to keep. Now I'm going to finish my sketch. Finish the sketch. Now, I can move my mouse, hold down the scroll wheel, pan around. I want to give some depth to this part, right? It's still not 3D yet. It's only 2D, right? So if I go up here to extrude, this is the icon extrude, click on extrude, look what it does. It automatically gives me some depth to my part. Well, I don't want it to be 1 inch. I want it to be 1/2 inch. But before I even do that, I want to flip it. Here's why. If you look at your axis down here in the lower left-hand corner, you see the z-axis. The z-axis is important here because when you're machining, the tool moves in an up and down direction. That is the z-axis. The top of the workpiece will be z0. So just keep that in mind for right now. I want the top of the workpiece to be z0. And if you look at the axis, that is what it will be. You'll learn more about this later when we're doing some machining. The distance now, I want to make 0.5. I hope I didn't confuse you about the machining. That comes later, but I want the top of my surface to be Z0, right? Z0. So you look at this axis, here's the Z-axis, that points to origin. The origin will be right on top of the piece here. Select OK. Now, as promised, I was going to show you how to use the view cube up here in the top right-hand corner. This is called a view cube. This is how you manipulate your views. So look here, if I click on front, that shows me the front view. If I click on these arrows, look what happens. It rotates about what axis? The y-axis. If I click on these arrows, what axis am I rotating about now? The X. And I can click on these rotation arrows. This is counterclockwise. This is counterclockwise. And this is clockwise. I can also click on the corners to get into the isometric view. Look here. I can click on the bottom corners. So I'm back to where I was earlier, and I want to continue to model this part. So what I'm going to do now, watch carefully, is I'm going to go to Start 2D Sketch, and I'm going to click on this face. Now, I'm going to add material to this part now instead of subtract. What I need to do is I need to find my centers of the circles or the arcs here. I already know one center is the actual origin, but where's the other center at? If I go up here to project geometry, click on project geometry, click on project geometry again. Now watch carefully. If I click on that arc, it automatically brings up that center. Why do I need that center? Because I'm going to drill or bore some holes at those center points. So watch. I'm going to go to circle center point. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to drag out a circle, and I'm going to make this circle 1 inch. And I'm going to come over here, same thing, click, drag out a circle, make it 1 inch, enter, do a right click with your mouse, select OK. All right, now I'm done with my sketch. I'm going to select finish the sketch, extrude. Now look what it's doing here. I got to click here, click inside the 2 circles. It didn't automatically do it that time. Sometimes it will, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't do it, move your cursor inside the circles and click. Now, I want to subtract these circles to make holes. So here is the subtract Boolean operation right here. It's actually called cut. So I've cut holes here through this part. Select OK. All right, now I want to go to sketch again, sketch, and I'm going to click on this face. And again, I'm going to use my friend project geometry. Click here, click on project geometry. I'm going to click to find the center of these holes. I have the centers of these holes. Now what I want to do, watch carefully. I'm going to go to circle center point. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag out a circle. Look, it's going to snap to the edge. Watch. As I move my cursor, it's going to snap. And I'm going to do a right click, OK. I'm going to do another circle. Start here at the center and come here to the inner circle. Click on the edge, click. Right click, OK. Finish the sketch. Extrude. Click on the inside, like inside the donut here, right? And I'm going to leave it at 1/2 inch. Okay. So far it's kind of looking like, excuse me, the part on the on the handout that I gave to you, but Mr. Morris, like, again, I don't want to break copyright laws, so I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to go to Start 2D Sketch, click on this face. See how I keep using my view cube to reorient my part. Click on Project Geometry. Mr. Morris, what are you projecting? I'm projecting the center of this little yellow dot. I'm going to go to circle center point. Click on the center, drag out a circle and move it to this edge. Click. Do a right click, OK. We're going to do that again. Circle center point. Click on the center and drag it out to this edge. Click. Do a right click, OK. Now I'm going to be a little bit different here. I'm going to finish the sketch. Select extrude, and I'm going to select inside these 2 circles in between. Now, so I can be a little different, I'm going to make this 1 inch. Okay. Just want it to be a little bit different. Now I can come up here to my view cube, watch, and I can move this around to different views. Okay. We are slowly but surely making our part. All right. Now we're not going to add too much more to this. You're going to say, Mr. Morris, doesn't look exactly like what you gave me. I know it doesn't, but that was a reason for it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do start 2D sketch, and I'm going to click on this face right here, this face. And I'm going to draw a rectangle starting at the origin here to right here. Go right click, okay. Mr. Morris, I can't see it. Well, I'm gonna get an isometric view so you can't. I have drawn a rectangle here. And I'm going to finish the sketch. I'm going to extrude that, but I'm not going to extrude it 1 inch. I'm going to extrude it maybe 3/4, 0.75, and select OK. All right. It's looking a little bit different, isn't it? I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Watch. I want to sketch on this side. So start 2D sketch, click on this face. I'm going to use rectangle 2-point, click, watch. I'm going to click on the center and I'm going to click on that intersection right there. Click, right click, okay, finish the sketch. Now I'm going to what? Extrude that. And I'm going to make it also 3/4. Select OK. All right, look, so far so good. Sorry. Now what I want to do is this, is I want to round these corners here. See these corners here? I'm going to round these corners, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to fillet. Fillet is a term that really means internal rounded corners, but I want to make external rounded corners. So you have to use fillet command for both internal corners and external. I want to round it off. Why do you think I might want to round it off? The sharp corners. For safety reasons, right? Somebody's going to be working with this part and you want to do it for safety reasons. So go to fillet. I'm going to click here. And I notice that the radius is 0.125. I'm going to change that to 0.5. Watch, this is a really nice tool. Click here, and look, even has X-ray vision. I can find that edge by just putting my cursor right there. Look here, select OK. All right, now look, I can come up here and I can click on this view cube to see what it looks like. All right, I also want to create internal rounded corners. I also want to create internal rounded corners by using the same command, but I don't want the radius to be as big. Watch what happens. Go to fillet, and I'm going to type in 0.125 here. And this is a beautiful tool to work with. It makes things look a lot more nicer here. I can do I can move this view around as I'm doing this. Say, look, and it looks more like a casting. It does look more like a casting when you do it this way. All right, I like that a lot. So I'm going to select OK. What do you think so far? Looking pretty good, right? Now, we're going to have to make some mounting holes here because somebody's going to secure this to some foundation. Maybe they're going to stick some posts in those holes to hold posts, right? I don't know what it's used for, but as a mechanical engineer, I have an idea. It's going to be used to hold some sort of post, all right? Now watch carefully. I'm going to go back to start 2D sketch, and I'm going to click on this surface right here. Okay. Now I'm going to add, watch carefully, a circle center point. I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna put a big circle like that. I won't like it. Now, I don't want to model my circles like this, right? I don't want to model my circles like this or my holes. So what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to get a reference dimension. I'm going to get a reference dimension from this point to this point. It's 2 inches. I'm just going to keep that temporarily because I want to know. Actually, I'm going to delete that now. I no longer need it. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dimension in here. Look carefully. And I'm going to make this 1 inch. All right. That's okay, but my circle moved off the part, right? So now what I want to do is I want to move the circle. Actually, what I'm going to do first, so it doesn't go off the part, is I'm going to put this dimension here first. And I'm going to make that 0.75. All right. And then I'm going to put this dimension here and make this 1 inch. By the way, you can double click on the dimension. You can double click on it and you can highlight it, delete it, and type in the dimension you want. Click on the green check mark. All right. Now, this is where your design skills come in. Let's say I don't like it being 0.75. I can double click on that and I can make it 0.5. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, I need to also change the diameter of my circle. I go to the dimension tool. I click on the edge of the circle. It says it's 0.630 right now, but I want to make it 0.5, half inch. We can use a half-inch diameter drill and make a hole there. Okay. Now, there's an easy way to do this, but I'm going to do it the hard way because I want you to see, again, how you go about doing this. See this hole here? It's not located properly. It's not the right diameter. I'm going to go to dimension. I'm going to click right here, here. And we're going to make that 1 inch. So far, so good. Going to dimension from this edge to the center. Notice I always pull my dimensions off the part. You should get in the habit of doing that. 0.5, especially when you're making your drawings. I'm going to select the green check mark. Now, this is not a drawing here, but this is, you're making a 3D model here. Afterwards, I'm going to make a drawing. You'll see how I'm going to do that in just a moment. We got to change the diameter now. And of course, notice I'm clicking. Watch this. I'm going to undo that. Here's the undo button up here in case you make a mistake. Hit this little white arrow, back arrow. I'm going to go to the dimension tool again. Click, click. And after you click the second time, that's when the dimension comes up. We're going to make this 0.5 and click on the green check mark. I'm going to finish the sketch. Finish the sketch. And now we're going to extrude. I got to click inside the circles. I don't want to go that way because that's going to add material to the part. I want to cut. Hit the cut button here. And I want to go all the way through the part. Make sure, I'm just going to change this dimension to 1 inch to make sure I go all the way through. Select OK. All right, we're doing good. We're almost there. Now, I want to put a beveled edge at the top here. Mr. Morris, what is a beveled edge? is when you're going to put what they call a chamfer. And we're going to go to chamfer, and we're going to make the chamfer distance 0.125 is fine. Oh, let's see. Let's see if we like it. Yeah, that's actually almost too big. Let's make it half of that, 0.0625. And I'm going to click on this one over here as well. And set that. All right. So I'm done modeling the part, but I haven't saved it yet. So I go to File, and I go to Save As, and I'm going to call this for record keeping purposes here. OER example 3. The OER examples you see in the Canvas shell it stands for Open Educational Resources. I'm sharing these resources with other schools. They're allowed to use these parts. But for this class here, it will be extra examples you can look at. Okay, you don't have to actually do the work. So these are extra examples for you to look at. For the OER students, they'll have to do the work. So I'm going to select Save. I want you to notice, look here in the browser at the very top, the file name has changed. See, it says OER example 3, which is fine. Now, if you're like me, you're saying that looks very ugly. It doesn't have a pretty color to it or a texture or anything else. And you can change that. Okay, you can change that. So over here on the browser, do a right click on the file name and come down to where it says iProperties, and then come over here with the physical tab. And again, this is being recorded, so you can watch this as many times as your heart desires. Hold down the left, click on this down arrow, and there's a variety of materials which you can choose from here. I mean, I even can select concrete and apply. Okay, that's supposed to be concrete, but personally, I don't like that. I'm gonna hit the undo arrow. I'm gonna come back over here, right click on the file name, go down to iProperties, click on physical, arrow down. I do like steel alloy. I think steel alloy looks good. Apply, close. Now, does that look like a piece of metal to you? It does now, right? It looks like a piece of metal. And it's got the luster to it, right? Like you would see the sheen. All right, now, am I done? I'm actually done up to a certain point. I'm done with the 3D model. Mr. Morris, what can I do with the 3D model? Well, at this point, I can actually download it to a 3D printer and make this part on a 3D printer. I can also download it to a CNC machine, which you're going to learn about next semester. CNC stands for Computer Numerical Control Machining. And you can make the part, right? But for right now, what I want to do is I want to finish my design. I want to actually make a drawing of this part. Okay, I want to make a drawing. So I'm going to go to File, watch very carefully. I'm going to save it first. And that tab in the lower left-hand corner will always be the model. But look, File, New. You have to make sure if you model your part using English units, you have to make sure you select English units for your drawing. So I select English, I don't want to select IPT now because that's inventor part file. I'm going to come down here where it says ANSI-IDW. I'm going to click on that. By the way, ANSI stands for American National Standards Institute. There are standards that we have to use when we lay out drawings, okay? But the beauty here, it already prompts us how to do that. So we don't have to do a whole lot of thinking here. So we're going to click Create. Now, again, look at the lower left-hand corner, you see the part, and then you see this drawing sheet. Well, we don't have the capability, we do, but we're going to print this out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So we don't really want to do it on this. So what we have to do, because this is a size D sheet of paper. So what we have to do right here, come over to the browser, see where it says sheet 1, do a right click on sheet 1, and we're going to edit the sheet. And we're going to change it to a size A, and we can leave it at landscape, that's fine. Select OK. All right. Now, as soon as I hit base, watch what happens. This is the true beauty of working with this software. First of all, I'm going to reduce the scale of the part a little bit, like 3/4 scale, make it a little bit smaller. I want to that's the front view of my part. Even though it says top, I know this says top, but this is the view I want to represent my front view. Now watch, this is my parent view. It will control all other views. Select OK. Now I'm gonna hold the left mouse button down and look, I can hold there's a little box appears, right? There's a little box appears. Hold the left mouse button down, move your mouse, and you can drag it to different places, different locations. Now what I want to do is I want to project the top view. Click on projected, click here, look, click, go over here, click, go up at the 1 o'clock position, click, right click, create. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shade my isometric. You don't have to do that in the real world, but in my class, I would like for you to do that. So you move your cursor near the 3D part, and you're going to do a right click. Actually, it's isometric view. Edit the view, and over here where it says style, click on this one, which means shaded, and select OK. There you go. There's your shaded part. That's a pictorial. It's isometric. It's a picture of the part. It gives the machinist an idea what the part looks like if they have successfully machined this part. Okay. Now what I'm going to go back and do some annotation here. I want to find the centers of all my holes. So go to annotate right here. Come over here in the middle of your menu, and we're going to select center mark. And I'm going to click. Watch, I'm going to click on the edges, the outer circles. See what it's doing? It's putting center marks in there. All right, I'm going to do a right click, OK. These are center marks. Now I want to put the center lines. These are bisector center lines. So I go here and I click on this center line. Now watch very carefully. Click here, click here. That shows you the center line of the hole. Click here, click here. That shows you the center line of this hole. Now we can't forget about these two. Click here, and you can come over here. Same thing over here. Click, 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 click. right click, cancel. All right. Now, if you want to move the center line up some, see how when you move your cursor near the center line, there's a green dot up here. Hold the left mouse button down and move your mouse, and you can pull the center line up like this. All right. Now we're making some good progress here. I want to add some dimensions. We can't make this unless we know some dimensional data here. All right. So I'm going to come in here with my dimension tool right here. And let's see. I'm going to go, this is actually a symmetrical part, except for the front view. It's symmetrical on the top view. I'm going to click here, this center. Look what happens. I'm going to click right there. Select OK. Do a right click OK. All right. Now I'm going to add another dimension. Look here. From this center line to this center line. Now, notice how I'm already, what? Bumping into my front view. I'm already bumping into it. So what I could do temporarily is I can move my cursor near the front view, hold down the left mouse button, and drag it down some, like that. I may want to change the scale. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to move my cursor to near the front view. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to select edit view, and I'm going to change this now to 0.625. All right, everything updates here except for this view. So I have to do it for this one too. Right click, edit the view, changes to 0.625. Select, okie dokie. All right. Now, I want to add some more dimensions here. Okay. So I'm going to do this. Now, Mr. Morris may forget some dimensions today. That's okay. It's not, we're just learning how to do this. But you can always go back and add your dimensions if you do forget them. Okay. All right. Now, we got the diameters of these holes. So I'm going to add this one. Now, what I can do is I can double click on this and come down. Now it's kind of like working with Word, right? I'm going to enter and I'm going to type 2x. How come I'm typing 2x? Because I have two smaller holes here. They're just, it's understood if you do this, they are the same size. Okay. Now, likewise, I'm going to do it for double click on the dimension, enter, and I'm going to type in 2x. But I think I'm going to put these in parentheses because there's two holes that size. Okay. And I'm going to come back and change this one so it's looks the same. Select OK. Right click OK. All right, now I know that we have these outer circular circles too. Okay, so I'm going to click here. And I'm going to double click here and change this note to 2x as well. Select OK. We'll do it. Now, if you get stuck in a mode like I just hit the escape button a couple times, you're out of that mode. I'm just looking to see if I have most of my dimensions represented in the top view. I don't have around this rounded corner here. It needs to be dimensioned. Look, I'm not going to do that 4 times. It's understood if no other dimensions are added, it's understood that all those are 0.5. We also have fillets. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and put a fillet dimension. And we'll put a note down here. I'll use the text here. And I say, note all fillets are all fillets have a radius of now you can't see the note like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on that note and I'm going to put a break here after have. Select OK. See, I like to move this down so it's not in the way. By the way, if you want to move the text, you hover over the text. You'll see the green dots appear. Hold down the left mouse button and you can move this anywhere. Okay. All right, now what I need to do is I need to show some height dimensions. Go back to my dimension tool. Look, I need to show the height of this part. There's the height of that step. Look here. Same thing here. Now I could come down here and put a dimension like this. This would be a reference dimension, but it's not going to let me do it because it would be a reference. We don't need it. And then I can do this. Now, let me show you something. It's okay to put that dimension there. Look, but we already have it right here. So that's called superfluous dimensioning. I'm going to do a right click OK. I'm going to move this view up some because I'm starting to run out of space. Over here, since I have no dimensions over here, what I can do is I can just put some overall dimensions. Notice we already have this dimension too right here. So again, I'm just panning, holding down my left mouse button and panning. I'm going to add a note now for the chamfer. See the chamfer? Mr. Morris, how do you dimension a chamfer? Very important. Please watch. I'm going to go to chamfer and I'm going to click on the slanted edge and then the straight edge and look what it does. So it's understood that all chamfers will be 0.06 by a 45-degree angle. That's all the chamfers. I don't have to put this dimension here because it's already over here, but I will just to kind of balance out the drawing a little bit. All right. Now what I want to do is put the labels on here. This is not something you have to really do in the real world, but it's a requirement for my class. Mr. Morris is more strict than the real world. Okay. So what we're going to do is go to text. Watch. Go to text. And we're going to come down here and we're going to type in top view, just like in Word. When you do it in Word, hold down your left mouse button, drag across the text, make it bold, underline, select OK. Do a right click, OK. Now the beauty here is I can just copy that, right click, copy, hold on, I gotta try that again. Right click, copy, come here, right click, paste. Boom, boom, and boom. Hit the escape button a couple times. Don't make a mistake some of my students have made in the past where they forget to do what? Edit the text. So we're going to right click on this one, and this is going to be the front view. Okay. This is the top view of the part. This is the front view. If you're getting too close to your title block, just hold down the left mouse button and move it up some. Same thing over here. This is the right side view. I just abbreviate that. I just type in RS. RS is understood to be right side view. And then we have this one. Double click on this one. And we're going to edit this one. And we're going to call this ISO view. It's isometric. Okay. All right, I'm going to save this. File, save. All right, now what I want to do is I want to save this. Watch very carefully. I'm going to get, because this is how you're going to turn this type of work in when you start doing this. You see this IPT file? We want to save this as a picture. You can upload this in PowerPoint. You can upload this in Word. You can upload this in any Microsoft projects software. Okay. So, but what I want to do here is show you how you save this as a picture. Go to File, go to Export, and click on Image. And you can leave the title just as it is, but I'm like down arrow here and select PNG file, save. All right, there's the picture, right? Now I'm gonna go back to my drawing right here, this tab. Watch, I wanna make a PDF of this. File, save as. We're gonna make this cancel. I'm sorry, we don't want to do that one. So I'm gonna say no, cancel, try this again. I'm sorry, I got distracted. File, export, PDF. Now that's fine. Save. Now I have a PDF. Why do you think I want to make it a PDF? Anybody in the class want to tell me why I want to make it a PDF and a PNG? Why do that? Why not just send them the CAD files? I can send them the CAD files, but why send them a PNG and a PDF? Right. They may not have the software, correct? They may not have the software. So, but you can share your design with anyone. If they have the capability of opening a PDF or a PNG, they can save it or look at it, make recommendations. Let me show you how to print this. Not that you're going to be doing that too much here. For the most part, you will be submitting a PNG and a PDF. So you have two submittals for just about every assignment in this class, but they're easy once you create them at the same time. File. Oh, before we do that, Mr. Morris is not actually finished with the title block. Shame on me. I got to do the title block. You go up here to the browser. You go up here to the browser. You go up here to the browser, right click on the browser, iProperties, and we're going to go to summary. And the title here is OER example 3. Now, what was I going to tell you about this? OER example 3. is the actual title of the project, but the subject here is CAD 140. And then the author is your name. You're the author. Type in your last name. Notice that all the letters are uppercase letters. You don't want to use lowercase letters on your drawing. The manager, of course, would be your teacher in this case. And the company, since we all attend Virginia Peninsula Community College, but if you work for a company and you use the software, you would type in the company name here. Virginia Peninsula Community. Down below this line, you can put whatever you wish. It's not going to show up on your title block anyway, but it's good. It could be good notes. This could be a notes section. Get a project where it says designer, put you are designer. So your last name, uppercase. You're also the engineer, your last name, uppercase. The authority would be me, okay? I would be the authority. Status, checked by you. You always have to check your drawings. And what date did you check it on? And then someone who's an engineer, you might be the engineer, somebody else might be the engineer. You type their last name, check off the date, and manufactured and approved. You're not going to make it in this class unless Mr. Morris approves it. So you're going to type in your last name and click on the date. We're going to apply and close. Now, do a file, save. Okay. Now, earlier we made a PDF of this, but Mr. Morris failed to include the title block information. So I'm going to go back to File, watch, Export, PDF, and I'm just going to overwrite what I did before. Do you want to replace it? Yes. So now the drawing looks like this, okay? Now what I want to do is I want to show you how to print this. If you're at home or you're in this class, you want to print it for some reason. Normally you don't have to print it. Go to File. We want to print, and we're going to do a preview first. Now mine looks perfect. Okay, yours might look perfect too. But what if it looks like this? What if it looks like this? And it could very well. What if it looks like that? Mr. Morris, that doesn't look right. That's because it's not, okay? Because look, your margins are really big here and you have no margins here or here. So this would not be acceptable. I think I just printed this. I'm going to close this, right? And I'm going to fix this. File, print. I'm going to rotate by 90 degrees. I want a best fit. I want a preview. I really like that. So I'm going to print and say, okay. And it's going to send it to my printer, I think. So this basically completes this lecture. This lecture is for practice purposes. You will eventually start designing 3D models and drawings of the parts that you're going to make in the machine shop. I can't overemphasize the importance of that. You have to design the parts you're going to be making. Okay. So I'm going to stop this share and say goodbye for right now. Take care.